So, in case you didn't know, our lovely, lovely politicians and MPs in the House of Commons are still talking about the Kangaroo Court. They're still talking about Boris Johnson. They are still talking about Westminster gossip politics. This is about Harriet Harman's Kangaroo Court. Yes, I'm going to say Kangaroo Court. The Privileges Committee. The report came out and the MPs are still debating it. They're still wasting taxpayers' money and time, standing in the chamber of the House of Commons, talking about it, right? Now, one of them, who's been a massive opponent of this whole charade, was Jacob Rees-Mogg. Jacob Rees-Mogg stood up yesterday in the House of Commons and completely roasted Harriet Harman. This is the most beautiful thing ever. He's talking sense, and he's a traditionalist, and he cares about the Constitution and parliamentary process. So he has some questions when it comes to Privileges Committee and the fact that Harriet Harman and her minions decided to go after people for calling the Privileges Committee a kangaroo court, because words hurt. Yeah, free speech out. So let's go to Jacob Rees-Mogg.
There are some issues with this report. I think beginning, as it happens, with its title, Coordinated Campaign of Interference, as was raised by my right honourable friend, the member for, wherever he's the member for, thank you. There is no evidence that it was coordinated, and I can speak on my own account, and I think I may get support from the whip on duty and indeed from the 10 Downing Street press office if it were able to comment. I'm not very often coordinated with the official line to take. Indeed, I've always thought that it is politically rather important that members should be independent in what they say and in how they vote, and therefore to make an assertion of coordination without evidence is a problem with this report. But it's not the only problem with this report. Designed to prevent frivolous complaints of breach of privilege, the following safeguards are in place. The Committee of Privileges does not have the power to inquire at will, but can only deal with complaints which are referred to it. Decisions on whether to refer a matter of privilege to the Committee of Privileges are taken by the House as a whole, and members require the permission of the Speaker to raise a matter of privilege. This was not done, and the 1947 Commons Journal entry was preferred to the 1978 motion. That seems to me to have been a mistake. This is not to say that this is necessarily not a serious matter, but the whole reason for the procedures is to ensure that only serious matters are subject to these reports. Why did the committee not follow the procedure properly set out by the House in 1978? Why were the safeguards ignored? This is before coming on to the matter that others have raised about individuals being named and referred to without any ability to answer. I'm not too worried about that. I've said things on the public record, and if people want to quote me and wish to refer to my television programme on GB News, which they may be jealous of, or whatever other concerns they may have, that's absolutely fine. I don't mind that personally. But I do mind that people say they're following the procedures of the House when the procedures actually seem to be rather different when you read Erskine May. I also think there is a modest discourtesy to the House of Lords.
That goes on for hours. You can talk for hours. And then, you had all the other... You had a couple of Tory MPs, so-called Tory MPs, paying massive tribute to Harriet Harman as well, saying she's the best, she's so loyal to Parliament and everything else, and Harriet Harman was crying, and obviously there were some personal stories as well. It was sad, we get it. The issue is, emotions aside, all we care about is the legality of, the processes of the Constitution that we have. Now, it might not be codified, but it still exists. Parliamentary process matters, and the fact that they basically portrayed and implied that the Privileges Committee is like a court, a legal court, that is a massive problem. Now, Jacob Rees-Mogg did say, they're accusing me of coordinating. With the official line. I don't coordinate. He's an individual. He's an independent MP, independent-minded MP. And he's always attacking the government. He doesn't listen to the whips. He doesn't listen to number 10 Downing Street. And at the same time, we had Stephen Barrett, the barrister, who is now officially the channel's lawyer, who came on the channel recently. And we're going to bring him back on to interview him about his thoughts. He mentioned there's a massive problem, a legal problem, with the new class of MPs, because back in the day, the so-called establishment MPs, the one thing that at least you had with them, they might have been out of touch, and the policies that they created were not really the best at the time. They're decades ago. Not all of them. At least they had some knowledge when it came to certain industries and legal knowledge. A lot of them had the legal background. They were professional. They knew their duty. But now you have the new class of career politicians who spend their time being a bag carrier to an MP and being an advisor to a minister, and they just deliver some leaflets for their party, and then they get on a candidate list, especially if they're a woman or if they happen to be gay and or brown, and then they hit the quotas and they become MPs, and this chaos happens. Identity politics. In the name of bringing more ordinary people in politics, these are not ordinary people. They're mouthpieces. Anyway, the Tory party has been completely destroyed over the last few years because of the way they've been selecting their candidates, and now they're getting what they deserve. Yeah, completely destroyed. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'm Mahyar Tousi, and we are the media.